I would like to first of all begin this video by commending you on your speed, because you are now only left with the two topics. That is the topic on the adjective endings, which we shall be addressing in this topic, and then the final one, which shall be on letters and CV. So let's now go ahead and address the adjective endings. There is a previous lesson before that you had seen on the topic of comparison of adjectives, whereby we talked briefly about the adjective. So this one now we want to see on some of the various endings you shall be required to add to your adjectives depending on where it follows, all right? So let us firstly remind ourselves what an adjective is. Now, an adjective is a word that describes a noun, a word that describes a noun. Things like tall, short, big, small, etc. These ones are the ones that we refer to them as adjectives. Now, there are two types of adjectives. We have the attributive adjectives. Kindly note that there are two types of adjectives. Now, the first type that we have are referred to as the attributive adjectives. Attributive adjectives. Now, these ones, they come before a noun. Kindly take note, yeah? So the attributive, they come before a noun, and then the second type is the predicative adjectives, which come at the end of the sentence. They mostly come after a noun. So after verbs like sein and werden. So I'm going to give you two examples to see exactly what the attributive and the predicative is. Look at the following. Peter is a clever boy. Now in this case, clever highlights to us the boy, right? Clever describes boy. So you can see in this case the clever comes before the noun, which is a boy, right? And then the second example, the boy is clever. Now this one is a predicative. So you can see the first one was clever boy. The second one is the boy is clever. So remember that those which come before the noun they're describing, and then there are those which come after, which means they come at the end of the sentence. Another example, the hungry children are here. You can see hungry children. Now this hungry describes the children, comes before. That is attributive, and then the children are hungry, which is now the predicative. So remember, attributive comes before the adjective, and then predicative comes after the adjective, okay? So let's proceed to the next point. In German, when an adjective comes at the end of the sentence, in German, when an adjective comes at the end of the sentence, i.e., after the verbs sein and werden, it is not declined. That is, nothing is added to it. It is not declinated. Sorry, not declined, but declinated. Remember, in German, when an adjective comes at the end of the sentence, mostly after the verbs sein and werden, it is not declinated. That is, nothing is added to it. Okay? So that is a very important point. I'd like you to re-emphasize. If you see an adjective in German coming at the end, don't add anything to it. And the example I have, das Kind ist hungrig. I don't say hungrige or hungriges. No, it is plain. Das Kind ist hungrig. And then, die Katzen sind schön. Die Katzen sind schön. The cats are pretty or beautiful. Der Mann ist alt. Der Mann ist alt. So you can see, in this case, when an adjective comes at the end of the sentence, you don't add anything to it. Number two, when an adjective comes after the, look at this one, when an adjective comes after the definite articles, various endings are added to it variably, depending on the cases of nouns, as follows. Now, as you know very well, the definite articles in English is the the. Now, in German, we have so many of them. Der, die, das, dem, des, etc. Depending on your case of noun. So they're telling that when an adjective comes after the definite articles, various endings are added to it variably, depending on the cases of nouns, as follows. So let's begin the first one, the nominative. So what are the endings to be added in the nominative? Remember, in nominative, we normally have der for masculine, die for feminine, das for neuter, right? So they're telling you that after der, die, and das, after der, die, and das, add e to the adjective. After der, die, das, add e to the adjective. After die for plural, add en to the adjective. All right? Like in the example, hier ist der große Mann. Hier ist die große Frau. Then I have hier ist das große Haus. Now you can see in this case, after the der, after the die, and after the das, we are adding the e to the adjective. Der große Mann, the tall man. Die große Frau, the tall lady. Das große Haus, the big or tall house. And then plural, we add en. Hier sind die großen Männer. So these are the endings that you add to the adjectives if they come after the der, die, das in a nominative. How about accusative? Now in accusative, after den, you add en to the adjective. Remember, these endings are added to the adjectives coming after these articles. So after den, you add en. After die and das, you add e. So after den, we add en. After die and das, we add e. And after die for plural, add en. Okay? Example, ich kenne den großen. All right? Ich kenne den großen Mann. Ich kenne die große Frau. I know the tall lady. And then ich kaufe das große Haus. I am buying the big house. And then lastly, ich wasche die großen Autos. So you've seen in accusative, after den for masculine, add en. After die and das, you add e. And then lastly, after die for plural, you also add en. That is an accusative. I believe we are still together up until this point. If you're together up until this point, just go ahead and shout, yeah. Okay, let's now see the dative. Look at the dative. Now in dative, as you know very well, we normally have dem, der, and dem. Plural is den. So in dative, after dem, der, dem, and den for plural, you're being told that we add en throughout. After dem, der, dem, and den, we add en to the adjective. Like in the example, ich danke dem alten Mann. Ich danke dem alten Mann. And then feminine, ich danke der alten Frau. Ich danke den alten Frau. And then I have, ich danke dem alten Mädchen. Then lastly, ich danke den alten Männern. So in dative, you can see now we are adding en throughout. And I always advise when you're doing this topic, you have to be well versed with the topic on cases of nouns, because that one also affects the various articles that you get to use, all right? Okay, then we have the last one, genitive. Now in genitive, remember genitive is always about possessions. In genitive, they're telling you that after des, der, des, and der, add en to the adjective. After des, der, you also add en throughout. Almost like the one for dative, yeah? In the example provided is das ist das Haus. Now this is the house des alten Mannes. This is the house of the old man. Das ist das Haus des alten Mannes. Then I have, das ist das Haus der alten Frau. This is the house of the old lady. Then I have, das ist das Haus des alten Mädchens. Then lastly, das ist das Haus der alten Männer. So you're seeing in genitive, after des, der, des, and der plural, we are adding en, that is to the adjectives. almost like in dative, okay? So that is those are the endings that we tend to have or we tend to add in nominative, accusative, dative, and genitive. So let's now see about the indefinite articles. When adjectives come after the indefinite articles, now when I'm talking about the indefinite articles, I refer to the a and an, the ein, eine, einen, einem, those ones. So when adjectives come after the indefinite articles, various endings will be added to it depending also on the case and gender of the nouns as follows. Now when adjectives are, when adjectives come after the indefinite articles, various endings will be added depending also on the case and gender of the nouns as follows. So we have nominative. After ein for masculine, we add er. So after ein for masculine, we add er. Eine for feminine, we add e. And then after ein for neuter, we add es. Remember, ein masculine, er. Eine, we add e. And then neuter, ein, we add es. Alright, like in the example, hier ist ein großer Mann. Hier ist ein großer Mann. And then feminine. Hier ist eine große Frau. Hier ist eine große Frau. And then neuter. Hier ist ein großes Auto. So remember, for masculine is hier ist ein großer Mann. Hier ist eine große Frau. And then neuter. Hier ist ein großes Auto. For plural, we'll be using the same article D. Plural is always D throughout. And then in accusative, after einen, we add en. After eine, we add e. And then after ein for neuter, we add es. Example, ich kenne einen großen Mann. Ich kenne einen großen Mann. I know a tall man. And then I have feminine. Ich kenne eine große Frau. Ich kenne eine große Frau. And then neuter. Ich kaufe ein großes Auto. Ich kaufe ein großes Auto. That is for accusative. How about in genitive? Now in genitive, after einem for masculine, that is after einem, einer, and einem, add en to your adjective. Remember, this one is throughout, en throughout in dative. After einem, einer, and einem, add en. In the example, I have ich danke einem alten Mann. I am thanking an old man. Ich danke einer alten Frau. And then ich danke einem alten Mädchen. So you're seeing in the dative, we are adding en throughout to the adjectives. Finally, in genitive, after eines, einer, and eines, we add en to the adjective. Remember, these endings are added to the adjectives coming after these articles. In the example, I have das ist das Haus eines alten Mannes. And then das ist das Haus einer, feminine, alten Frau. And then lastly, I have das ist das Haus eines schönen Mädchens. Now, those are the various endings that you are supposed to add to the various adjectives depending on the articles that they shall be coming after. So I believe you have now seen on the various endings. I would highly recommend you replay back that those parts that I've mentioned on the various endings, because now at this point I would like you to test yourself. Now here's an exercise on the screen being told complete with the correct adjective endings. Now they've given you some sentences and they would like you to fill appropriately with the adjective ending that you suspect. Now what will guide you is, number one, you will have to check on the article used. Have they used a definite or indefinite article? Number two, you will also need to check on the gender of that noun. Is it masculine, feminine, neuter, or even plural? And then number three, you will need to check on the position of your adjective. Is it coming after an article, or is the adjective coming at the end of the sentence, so that or those are the things that will guide you as you do this exercise. So kindly just pause here like we've been doing. Go ahead and pause here and then attempt the following exercise. Come back and play after you have tried. Okay, let's now go ahead and have a look at that exercise. Number 1, ich habe, then they used einen dash Vater. Now Vater is masculine and they've used einen. This is accusative. Now in accusative you are told after einen you add en to the adjective. So ich habe einen netten Vater. And then number 2, ist ein net Vater. Remember, it's ein Vater. Now this is a nominative. You are told clearly after ein for masculine we add er. Ein for masculine we add er. So that should be ist ein netter Vater. Ist ein netter Vater. I believe you are marking and correcting appropriately. How about number 3? Ich kenne eine, feminine, eine schöne Frau. Ich kenne eine schöne Frau. And then number 4, das ist ein. Now after ein for neuter, we add es to the adjective. So ein schönes Kind. Ein schönes Kind. Number 5, wir trinken das. Remember after der, die, das, we add e. Das gute Bier. Wir trinken das gute Bier. Because we were told after der, die, das, we simply add e. Okay, I want us to take some few more examples. Trinkst du, are you drinking? Trinkst du den? After den we add en. Den kalten Wein. Trinkst du den kalten Wein? Are you drinking the cold wine? And then number 7, ich habe sehr kleine Kinder. I have very small children. Now for plural, we just add e where there's no article. So ich habe sehr kleine Kinder. Now we add e. Remember up there we said that after d for plural we add en. But where there's no article, we just add e. That's why the answer becomes ich habe sehr kleine Kinder. Number 8, wir trinken, it's accusative. So, wir trinken den Kaffee und essen den Kuchen. Okay, 2 more. Ich gratuliere. Now they've used the verb gratuliere. If you check on the topic of cases of nouns, gratuliere is a verb plus dative. Gratuliere is a verb plus dative. Now, because it's plus dative, then this one is going to be in dative. Now, we're talking about kind. Kind is neuter. In dative, neuter is dem. And after dem, we add an en to the adjective. So, that should be ich gratuliere dem jungen Kind. Then lastly, finally, number 10, fährst du mit dash alt dash Bus. Now they've used the fährst du mit. Are you traveling with? Now if you check on the topic of cases of nouns, mit is seen as under the prepositions going with the dative. So makes this sentence then to be dative. So it's going to be fährst du mit, and then Bus is masculine. So dative masculine is dem. Fährst du mit dem alten Bus? Fährst du mit dem alten Bus? Are you traveling with the old bus? So with that said and done, it now brings you to the end of the topic on the adjective endings, but the revision doesn't end here. As I keep saying that I'd like you to go ahead and form some other examples trying to add the appropriate adjective endings. Things like are you eating? Are you eating the let's use are you eating the delicious banana? Essen Sie die, and then delicious is lecker, right? Leckere. Essen Sie die leckere banane? Are you eating the delicious banana. So kindly go ahead and form as many examples as you possibly can, because that is how you're going to ensure you keep on practicing. And I would finally recommend you play back this video in case there's a part you might have missed at the beginning. Okay, so with that said and done, I shall be seeing you in the very last topic. You are now remaining with the last topic, which is going to be on the topic is on letters and CV. This is going to be tested in your Schreiben, and then afterwards you shall have now completed your A1 topic. So after you have completed your A1 topic, if you are going to be sitting the examination, there's a video course on the exam preparation that is going to be in-depth coverage of your A1 examination that shall be provided if you are to sit your A1 exams. Okay, so with that said and done, then let me say that's just Alice. I shall be seeing you in the next one.